What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to Daysam FC, Daysam Free Channel, where we talk about God and things of God. And in this video, read the title correctly, this is the identity of Jesus explained like no other. I gave it this title because, to be honest, I've not heard or seen anyone explain the identity of Jesus the way I'll be explaining it to you in this video. And I promise that if you go on ahead to watch this video to the very end, you'll see that you've actually not heard the explanation of the identity of Jesus like this anywhere else. So let's get right into it. The first thing I like to talk about is the common misconception of Jesus that he's a prophet. And I like to start by showing you in various ways how Jesus was not a prophet. In Matthew 16 from verse 13, we have Jesus ask the disciples who the people thought he was. And they said, some people think you are John the Baptist, some people think you are Jeremiah, some people think you are Elijah, or some people think you are John the Baptist. Let's take a pause and look at this for a moment. Imagine some people thought Jesus was John the Baptist, and John the Baptist existed at the same time as Jesus. They both lived at the same era. So imagine, how could Jesus have been John the Baptist when they were both at the same era? Do you understand? So, they said Jesus was John the Baptist. And I'm like, if you as a person believe that Jesus is a prophet, to be honest, you're not far gone. You're not far gone at all, because some people believed Jesus was John the Baptist when both of them literally lived in the same era. Let's move on from there. Jesus goes ahead to ask them, "Who do you say I am?" And then Peter answers, "You are Christ, the Son of the living God." Now Jesus says, "Blessed are you, Simon, Bar-Jonah." I can't remember what exactly he says there, but he says, "Blessed are you, Simon Peter," and he says he will build, his church on his name. And then he goes ahead to say he will give him the key to the king. He will give him the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Please, number one, Jesus in this chapter, he confirms the fact that he's not a prophet, but he is the Son of God. He confirms that he is the Son of God because he blessed Simon Peter after Simon Peter answered him. So he confirms that he is the Son of God, and he says that he will give Simon Peter the keys to the kingdom of heaven and earth. Please, how on earth is it possible for a prophet to give someone, the keys to heaven and earth? Is that possible? I think after hearing these 2 points, if you still go on ahead to believe or to say that Jesus is a prophet, then it simply means you do not believe in Jesus and you are calling Jesus a liar. That's just simply what it means. And I don't care who you are, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim. Even if you're a Muslim, the Quran confirms who Jesus is. It confirms that Jesus existed and it was true. So these are the exact words of Jesus. And if after hearing this, you still go on to say Jesus is a prophet, then it just means you've locked your heart and you've not settled out to open your heart to receive, the truth that's directly from Jesus. Another point I'd like to give is in Luke chapter 10, when Jesus said, "Behold, I saw Satan fall like lightning." Now, mind you, this was when there was war in heaven, and when there was war in heaven, no man was created yet, you feel me? So how then can Jesus say, "I saw Satan fall like lightning," if he's a prophet when no man was created then? Do you understand? It shows that Jesus is beyond, the physical. You feel me? Jesus is beyond the physical. Another thing I would like to show us is also in Matthew, I think chapter 12, when the Pharisees asked Jesus for a sign, and then he told them that they were an evil and adulterous generation, and no sign will be given to them except the sign of Jonah, that as Jonah was in the belly of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights, so will the Son of Man be at the heart of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. And here Jesus, Jesus prophesies his death and his resurrection. He makes us know in other places in the Bible that he gives his life and he has the authority to take his life. No one has the ability to take his life from me, you understand? But he gives it willingly. That authority he receives from the Father. The authority to be able to give his life and to be able to take back his life at any moment, he has received it from his Father. No prophet has that authority. No prophet has the authority to give his life and to take back his life. Other prophets that we have in the Bible that did not die, we have people like Moses, Elijah, who did not die, who were taken up to God. They were taken up to God. They did not do that on purpose. They did not do that by their will. Back to Matthew 12, talking about the sign the sign of Jonah, that he will be dead for 3 days and 3 nights. He also goes on ahead to say that the people of Nineveh will rise in judgment with this generation, and will condemn this generation because the people of Nineveh, they repented at the preaching of Jonah, who was a prophet, So the people of Nineveh, they repented at the preaching of Jonah, who was a prophet. And he says that, behold, something greater than Jonah is here. Something greater than Jonah is here. He doesn't even say someone. He says something greater than Jonah is here. If something in this case is greater than Jonah, who was a prophet, how much more the carrier of this something? Don't you understand? If you go on and on, he goes on ahead to say that the queen of the south shall stand and arise in judgment to this generation and shall condemn it. Because behold, she traveled all over the world to hear the wise sayings of Solomon. But behold, something greater than Solomon is here. Something greater than Solomon. You know who Solomon is in today's world? Solomon is worth about $2 trillion in today's economy. And Jesus said something greater than Solomon is here. He says something greater. He doesn't say someone greater than Solomon. He says something greater than Solomon is here. If something can be greater than Solomon, who is the richest person to have ever existed, how much more the carrier of this person? Is that who you call a prophet? I'd like to end that note by saying that, so Jesus is not a prophet. We've come to that conclusion. Jesus is not a prophet. Jesus is the Son of God. So we have it in Matthew chapter 16, where Jesus confirms, the sayings of Simon, you are Christ, the Son of the living God. He blessed Simon after saying that, meaning you are right. In John 3:16, Jesus said himself that for God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten Son into the world, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Now, this underlines the fact that God indeed has a Son. In the very beginning, in Genesis chapter 1, God said, let us create man in our image. Who was God talking to when he said, let us create man in our image? Could he have been talking to angels? Never. He wasn't talking to angels. Why? Because we ourselves, we creations of God, we were made to understand that we are greater than angels, and that we shall judge angels. How then is it possible that we will judge those that we are created after? It's not possible. So we are not created after angels. So who then was God talking to when he said, let us create man in our image? No other but the Lord Jesus Christ, when he said, let us create man in our image, because we're created in the image of God the Father and the Son, Jesus Christ. That is what it is. And then Jesus also makes us to know that everything that God does, he has made known to the Father. That is, everything that God knows, God has taught the Son. And that is why the Son knows everything that God knows, which explains why God will even say, let us make man in our image, because it's as if God is like, let us do this thing together. So it makes us understand that whatever God does, he does with the Son. Do you understand? It's as simple as that. Jesus himself made us know that whatever God does whatever he does was shown to him by the Father. He lets us know that everything that he does, he learns it from the Father, which it was there right from time. Jesus mentioned it. He said that, glorify me with the glory that I had with you before the world existed. When you see all these things, you know that Jesus indeed existed with God. Now, this takes us, now we've underlined the fact that Jesus is not a prophet, Jesus is the Son of God. Now, the very last question, which is like the most uncomfortable question to many people, is Jesus God? People become skeptical and scared about this question, is Jesus God or is he not God? Then I'll just go straight to it, plain and simple. Jesus is God. Jesus is God. Number one, there is no way you want to talk about the divinity and the identity of Jesus that will make sense. Number one, Jesus was fully man when he was here, when he was on earth. He was fully man and he was fully God at the same time. Why? Number one, because the Spirit of God descended on Mary. Now, the Spirit of God is a part of God himself. Don't you get? The part of God himself descended on Mary. Now, it wasn't a man's spermatozoa that fertilized Mary's egg to conceive Jesus. So, Jesus' origin, his roots, is not from man. Simple, biologically simple, is not from man. It's directly from God. So, what else are we going to say? The seed of God, he's God. Are you not getting? The seed of God is God. He's God to us. He's God everywhere. He's one with God. They are not two. You understand? God and Jesus are not two. They are not separate beings. They are one. You feel me? Jesus is simply an extension of God. Finish. So when you see Jesus, you have seen God. It's that simple. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. You cannot go to God except through Jesus. Is that easy? Like, do you understand? So God has made it so simple that, okay, this is the way. If anyone wants access to me, if anyone wants to understand me, if anyone wants to see me, let them take a look at this guy. Let them take a look at him. Let them learn from him, and then they have seen me. It's that simple. What is so hard to understand in all this? So this is how Jesus is God. He is one with God. He is a part of, he comes from God, directly from God. You feel me? He is God. He is God. He's simply God. And then, Isaiah in Isaiah chapter 9 verse 6, when he prophesies about the birth of Jesus, he says, for to us a child is born, and unto us a son is given. and his name shall be called. He goes on ahead to list his names. Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God. Do you know what that is? Mighty God. He calls the Son Mighty God. Of course, the Son carries the name of God. So this brings me to the end of the video. This is the real identity of Jesus. Jesus is God. Jesus is the Son of God. And yes, Jesus is one with the Father. They are not two, they are one. Whatever Jesus does is the will of the Father. And in fact, Jesus made us to know that, that God is not going to judge anyone. And that God has left all judgments to the Son. So just think of that. That on the judgment day, it's Jesus that is going to judge. Are you thinking about this? On the judgment day, it's actually Jesus that holds judgment, not Muhammad, not any other person. Go and read your Bible. Jesus said that all the authority of judgment has been left to the Son, that the Father judges no one but the Son. Imagine. So, my people, I hope with this video I've been able to some extent, enlighten you about the identity of Jesus. Jesus is God. Jesus is one with God. He is one with the Father. There is God who is the Father, the ultimate supreme being, who is Spirit. And then there is Jesus, who is the Son of God, who is also God, one with the Father, directly from God, who came to take away the sins of mankind, who God sent, do you understand, to cleanse the world from sin and to redeem us back to God. So I hope in these few minutes I've been able to understand, shed light on this. And I hope you understand. Feel free to comment down below if you have questions or if any part of this confuses you. And I'll be sure I'll do my best to answer. Thank you very much. Peace. God bless you.